Doug, can you give me your full name?
Robert Douglas Laws.
How do you spell the last name?
Laws.
Yeah, this is panoramic. That I know. That's panoramic right there.
This is Leon Pass.
I thought I
Go by Doug.
Go by Doug, yes?
Go by Doug.
How come,
So that's when I changed.
what brought you out here? Tell us your story.
Basically, I recently retired from International Business Machines. And this was one of my to-do lists that I wrote down when I was a teenager. I would like to do some backpacking, hiking, camping, celebrate the pioneer spirit. I think my mother was always impressed upon us that she lived 200 years after she should have been born. So she had the pioneer spirit. And all of a sudden, I came across notification of this trip, and I said, that's something that I would like to do. So I signed up, and with no expectations. I was going to say, I thought maybe if I finished one day, I'd do well. And then it was 1 week, and now we're into 3 weeks. I'm still not promising anything, but as the saying on a lot of these hats go, faith in every footstep. So I'm just, it's to honor the pioneers that went before us. And I guess the Mormons in particular, they have quite a story. And although I'm not a member of the LDS Church, I was very impressed with the Mormon trek and the hardships they endured, and I would like to sort of in a small way be a part of it. Well, I think probably most of that was my mother's influence. That she always considered herself a pioneering woman, and it was one of her to-dos to walk the Appalachian Trail, I think, at one point in time, and she never was able to do that. So, and she said, all of a sudden, she was too old. So I said, why don't I do these things while my health's still good?
Yeah, there'll be one there. Yeah.
So.
And tell me about the rigors of the trail.
Well, you probably can see the rigors, I think, are primarily on your feet. Blisters and moleskin are something that the pioneers, or at least Band-Aids and moleskin are maybe things the pioneers did not have, and I don't know how we would get along without them. They're very important. I have both boots and sneakers. The boots are very good on the back dirt roads, but they don't give you much support when you move along at a good clip on the paved roads, and so the sneakers are good on the paved roads. So I have one of each that come in handy. This gentleman here keeps me well informed on how to live in the great outdoors. But
What's been the toughest part?
Oh, the toughest part? Well, that's a good question. I thought this whole thing was going to be extremely difficult, and I wasn't going to be able to go more than a day or two. And I think that it's been easier than I thought, primarily just because of the folks. Not only the folks that I'm traveling with that have been absolutely super and very supportive, but the townsfolks and the places where we go have also been very supportive. I was thinking that maybe you would sort of be on your own, and from a psychological point of view it would be difficult, but it's everybody seems to feed off one another, and that's, I think, made the trip as much fun and as, quote, easy. The tough part really has been the feet. If you can manage to avoid the blisters, I think you'll do okay.
Is it fun?
Absolutely. It's a lot of fun. Recommend it to anybody.
Do you have any pioneer history in your background?
I thought that I might, but I have not been able to come up with any. And I guess the closest to the pioneer spirit would be on my father's side. They settled in Georgia and were farmers, but don't know that I have any relatives that made the trek out westward, so I think I'm probably the first one to do that.
Do you feel adopted into this at all?
Well, not yet, not yet. But I do feel very much a part of just this particular group. Yes. So if that's what you mean by adopted, sure.
Any camaraderie? Have you made any lifelong friends yet?
I think everybody I've met has been very supportive and very nice. John Lodefink and I have been pulling a cart for the last couple of days, and I've gotten to know him pretty well. And Yes, I think, and there's quite a few other people that I think I could mention. And again, we're only maybe a quarter, third of the way through, so I think there's an opportunity to meet a lot more folks. I guess I haven't met that many people from the wagon train up ahead, the horses, and so that's a goal of mine to meet those folks.
The world all its own back here at the Walkers?
At times, but our leaders are doing a good job of getting us to meet the other folks too.
Talk to me about the camaraderie.
Camaraderie, well, I guess it would start the first day when your feet were a little sore, and there would be people that would come right up with the moleskin and the Band-Aids to help you out. You run out of water and there's people there with water, or you're sitting down sort of by yourself and people will come over with a few extra sandwiches for you. You look a little on the hungry side. So it's been that kind of a spirit.
What are you going to take from this trail?
Boy, there's that's interesting. There's probably the goodness in the human heart. It's all too easy to, at least for me, I've been in the business world, which can be at times cutthroat, and been doing that for 35 years, and it's nice just to slow down and sort of enjoy the grass and the flowers and the trees and the nice sights and the other men and women that are just want to be friends and helpful and get you through the hard times, and they don't have hidden agendas or a competitive spirit to outdo one another. You're sort of all trying to pull one another through, and I think that's what I will try to take with me from this point on, is just to slow down and enjoy life a little bit more.
What are you giving to the trail?
Well, hopefully I'm returning the same kind of enthusiasm for life and helpfulness to people when they're down, and to make some friends.
You have more. What was your introduction to the Mormons before you came over?
Introduction to the Mormons, it would probably start with my oldest brother. That a number of years ago, he was interviewed by missionaries and went through a training. I think he read parts of the Book of Mormon. Was very interested in it. He was not converted to the Mormon faith. In fact, he ended up being an Episcopalian minister. I guess that was part of it. The other part was, although I'm not actively involved in politics, I do follow politics, and sometimes I would sit down and I would look throughout the country and say, who are those folks out in Utah that I seem to agree with from a political point of view? And I think, and then when I found out that it was mostly Mormons, I became more interested. Although, to be honest with you, to actually participate in the sesquicentennial of the Mormon wagon train, I was not aware of until I just recently, a few months ago, came across an article in the AAA magazine. But I knew enough at that point in time to say that's what I would like to do, but I really didn't know anything about it before then.
Have you read the Book of Mormon at all?
I've started Nephi 1, and I got a little ways through that. I had some questions and asked and got some guidance, and then I jumped over to Nephi 3, and I've read a few passages there, and but I haven't gotten any further than that. But I'm making progress.
People say there are ghosts on this trail. They have ancestors. They have ancestors and stuff, and feel very close to their ancestors on the trail.
Yes.
Have you had any experiences like that, or can you relate to what these people are going through on the trail?
That's been hard. I had read about the experiences the people had before I came out. So I was familiar with the two handcart companies, the Martin and Willie handcart companies that did have problems, and I've read some in detail about a few of the individuals, a few of the 6,000 individuals that did die, and that was sort of moving, going through some of the areas. And see some of the markers, especially in Omaha, where there were quite a few hundred that died, and there was a cemetery there. Yes, those were moving experiences for me, because I think anybody can relate to that. Because somewhere in your history, you've had people that have gone through hardships and overcome them. And yes, those are moving experiences.
Are you going to go all the way?
Right now, I'm saying faith in every footstep. I just keep putting one foot in front of the next, and it's getting easier. But we still have a long way to go. And put it this way, I'm hoping to.
What would it take for you to quit?
Well, I don't know. I guess I'm Scottish. That's my background, and we can be pretty stubborn when we want to be. And since I've started this, I haven't thought about quitting. So if someone said, "Well, you're going to have to quit here," I think that would be enough incentive for me to push on.
What's keeping you going?
The other folks. This would be a very difficult kind of thing to do if you were by yourself. But with a group of people, and it's the group that started out in Omaha is very important. But then again, every day we get new folks that come on, drop off the trail, and they add a little bit more enthusiasm to the trek and a little bit different perspective, and so both are very welcome.